In this video, let's talk about troubleshooting some common DHCP version 4 issues. I've got a router acting as a PC. In other words, I don't have a routing protocol running on this router, and I wanted to obtain its IP address for interface fast Ethernet 0/0 via DHCP, just like a PC might be configured to get its IP address via DHCP. Here's how we can do that. I'm going to go into interface fast Ethernet 0/0, and we can say IP address DHCP. And we'll see if we automatically learn an IP address from the DHCP server that we see on screen. We'll give it a few moments, and I'll do a show IP interface brief to see if we have learned an IP address. Well, we're told that our method of address assignment is DHCP, but currently our IP address is unassigned. We have, for some reason, not learned an IP address from our DHCP server. Let me give you a couple of quick things to look for if you're not getting an IP address via DHCP. You might see if your next hop gateway, the router to which you're pointing to, is configured for an IP helper address. In this topology, what would my next hop gateway be if I had learned that next hop gateway? Well, it would be router R1, and I would be coming into router R1 on interface fast Ethernet. Looks like 0/0. Let's make sure that R1's fast Ethernet 0/0 interface is configured for the IP helper address command. Let's go over to R1 and let's do a show run, and let's check out the configuration of fast Ethernet 0/0. I'm not seeing it. Look at this. No wonder, because remember how DHCP works? It uses the DORA process, the discover, offer, request, and acknowledgement. Well, that discover message is a broadcast. And what does a router do with the broadcast? It stops it. Unless we configure this IP helper address, it will allow DHCP and a few other broadcast types to be forwarded to a specified network or to a specified IP address. Here, I'm going to go into interface fast Ethernet 0/0, and let's say IP helper-address, and I'll specify the IP address of my DHCP server. It's 172.16.1.2. Now, when I get that discover broadcast from my PC, then I should be learning what the appropriate IP address is. Let's go back to our PC and see if things look better now. Let's once again do a show IP interface brief. Haven't learned anything yet. Just to speed things up, I'm going to bounce the interface. Let's go into interface fast Ethernet 0/0. And I was going to shut it down and then bring it back up, but I just needed to be a bit patient. It looks like we have been assigned an IP address. Once again, show IP interface brief. Look at this. It looks like I now have an IP address of 10.1.1.11. Fantastic. Oh, and as part of that DHCP address assignment, I was given an IP address, I was given a subnet mask, I was given a default gateway, maybe a DNS server's IP address. Let's do this though. Let's see what my default gateway is. I can determine that on a PC by saying IP config. But here on this router, I'll do a show IP route. Again, I'm not enabled for a routing protocol, but it will tell me my default gateway. It looks like I've dynamically, from the DHCP server, learned a default gateway of 10.1.1.1. Great. Now, the next thing I want to do is to see if I can ping somewhere. Let's try to ping that DHCP server. Can I ping 172.16.1.2? Maybe the first one is an ARP timeout? It's not looking good. No, my pings are failing. Interesting. Well, I learned a default gateway. I know that I've obtained IP address information from a DHCP server, so now we need to look a bit deeper. Now we need to start following the path. We know that, according to our show IP route command, that our default gateway should be 10.1.1.1. Let's go to that next hop gateway and confirm we have a matching IP address. Let's go to router R1 and let's do a show IP interface brief. Do you see the problem? Yeah, it looks like we typed in an extra 0. We did not want this extra 0. It looks like a fast Ethernet 0/0 actually has an IP address of 10.1.1.10. It shouldn't be that. It should be 10.1.1.1. Let's correct that. Let's go into interface fast Ethernet 0/0 and say the IP address is 10.1.1.1, and we've got a 24-bit subnet mask. I'll save that. Let's go back to our PC. Can I now ping my D8CP server? Dropped one packet. Let's try again. Yeah, we sure can. Awesome. What we were able to do is to get a router acting as a PC to dynamically learn its IP address from a D8CP server, being reminded that we've got to go to the ingress interface of our Nextop router and enable the IP helper address command to forward our D8CP Discover broadcast to that D8CP server. And the information we learned from the D8CP server gave us a default gateway that didn't match up with what the Nextop gateway's ingress interface was. And we needed to see which one was wrong. In this case, the router's IP address was incorrect, and we fixed that. And now we've got full connectivity from this PC to anywhere else in our network.